Hey guys, how's it going? Okay, so here's a video that I promised recently I think in one of my grocery haul videos, but either way, here it is. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about meal planning. This is something that honestly has daunted me for years. Guys, there are some amazing meal planners out there. There are a lot of people who really embrace the monthly meal planning. I have seen some really organized friends who they have a whole calendar. In fact, one of them even used a picture frame and put a calendar behind it, kind of a blank one, used dry erase, and they had meals written out for every day for the entire month. I know friends who do very detailed grocery shopping lists based on how much of something they would buy and how many meals that would divide down into and how long it should be good for, so all the meals. Okay, let me tell you up front, that's not me. That's too planned. It doesn't work. I love the idea of it, but no matter how many times I've tried, that's not something I can do. Chances are if you're watching this, that's not something you can do either, and you're still trying to figure out how to make it work. So what I've been doing lately for our family of 9 is a really modified version. I've been watching a lot of what some other people are doing, reading some blogs, checking some stuff out. And guys, I have some really great friends who are very detailed. In fact, I'm probably going to go ahead and send this video directly to them to let them know that Amanda and Charity, you guys honestly have inspired me to look deeper into this. However, I don't have your level of commitment. So here's my version. Okay, so like I was saying, I have seen them do some amazing things as far as really detailed planning out. One of them, she's working with a work schedule. One of them does in-home daycare, and they're working towards homesteading and some other stuff. And I really love watching everything they do. But for our homeschooling family, there's 7 kids, ages 17 down to 2, varying preferences and appetites. We've got, a 2-year-old who is getting semi-picky. And, we've got one child with sensory issues. So we do have to be aware of what we're making and everything like that. Not to mention, schedules always seem to be changing. I'm really kind of an ebb and flow kind of person. I like to have a plan, but nothing is ever written in stone. And I think for me, it always seemed like a lot of those meal plans were too written in stone because you're nailed down to the ingredients you've written down. So if you've watched our grocery haul videos, you know that we do grocery shopping every week. But with that, we do a large haul every other week and a smaller haul in between. Now, really quick, I'm also going to cut it in and say what you can't see is I keep doing a lot of hand movements, but I'm doing it down below. So if you're just seeing my shoulders bob, it's because I have no concept of the fact that you can't see my hands. So, so what I'm really doing is saying, that we do a large grocery haul every other week. And then in between, we do a smaller haul that's really just kind of a fill-in. That's the way it has gone. Now, the last couple of weeks, I've been trying this new meal plan, and I'm staying under budget, which is huge. Because another thing, if you haven't heard me complain about it before, we moved back to this area 2.5 years ago, and we had to raise our grocery budget when we moved out here. Things tend to be more expensive while actually being harder to get access to the things you really want, like organic produce and things like that. So it's been really tricky. Well, I don't love the fact that we had to raise our grocery budget because honestly, a lot of our other bills went up after we moved out here as well. And I'm really trying to cut back some expenses because as many of you also know, we've been working towards adopting for 1.5 years now. That's a whole other topic though I'm going to do another update on before too long because we do have some more information on that to share with everybody. But first, let me first of all tell you, I don't keep my stuff on a calendar. I don't because that nails me down to too much commitment. I'm afraid of commitment. So I just have a handy dandy notebook that I break down by the week. Basically, I'm going to talk you through this and I'll show you what I've got written down. So I will typically come up with about 7 meals. Before I go grocery shopping on Friday or Saturday, depending on the week, I have started going through my fridge, my freezer, my pantry. I see exactly what I've got. I take kind of an inventory of what might be on the verge of needing to be used or tossed, because I don't want to waste food. And then I also keep in mind what we've got that is shelf stable. You know, things that last a lot longer, rice, lentils, quinoa, some of that stuff. And that helps to determine what exactly we're making. And then what I also try to do is I'm trying to keep in mind what we do have scheduled for the week, but to be completely honest, I don't keep that in mind up front. That kind of comes in later on. So then once I've taken an inventory, I kind of get an idea like, okay, what did we eat this last week? And what can I make without too many repeats? Because kids start getting burned out on certain foods. Some things are going to repeat. It's just the way it is. So let me show you my notebook here, and I'll show you what exactly I've been doing with, I don't know, my modified plan. Okay, so I'm going to run you through here really quick. Up at the top, this is actually where, not even my first week. I'm going to, let me go back. This was kind of my first couple weeks of attempting this. This week, I was kind of half doing everything and really getting a grasp on things. The last 2 weeks is where I finally have found my groove. So these are the ones I'm going to show you. Now, you're going to notice a lot of things are crossed out, but not everything. So this is the week we're in right now. This was last week. Basically, what I did is I went through and I knew, first of all, we do tacos every Tuesday. So I knew we were going to have some sort of taco, and that it had been a couple weeks since we had our al pastor. So I wrote that down. And then what I did is I wrote the al pastor meat on the grocery list, because that's something I knew I was going to have to get. And then I went through things I knew the kids had been asking for. I knew that we were supposed to have some shredded chicken, so we would do some quesadillas for everybody. Or no, actually there was some left in the fridge I planned on using. You know, and then a couple simple meals. And like this one right here, potato, onion, hamburger hash. This was, I've got some potatoes that need to be used, so let's go ahead and put that down. So you're going to notice everything crossed out are ones that we were done with one way or another. Everything we made except the quesadillas, because we actually didn't have enough chicken left by the time I was going to make them. So I crossed it off because that meal actually no longer applied. Over here, I did write down, I wanted to start getting some ideas of things to bake. I want to try baking something every week. I haven't actually officially done that yet. But then over on this side, I wrote LO for leftovers, for the food that we typically have leftovers of or that I anticipate having some. Grilled cheese, you make just as many as you need. French bread pizza, we never have leftovers. Pigs in a blanket, I make just as many as we need. Quesadillas, same thing. But the dirty rice with Polish sausage, we've had leftovers each time we've made that. Taco stuff, we have leftovers every time we make that. So then it was time to go grocery shopping again. So those ones just didn't get crossed off, keeping in mind that I can make those at any point, hence the reason I left them open. Drew a line because this is a new week. Tacos on Tuesday, well, salsa chicken tacos, we actually didn't have them on Tuesday. This is the meal I'm going to go ahead and do tomorrow. Chicken quesadillas, I made up chickens in the Instant Pot this week, so we did actually have them, along with French bread pizza. The girls made that one night while Sean and I were gone. It's a really easy meal for them to make, and it keeps us on plan. Texas toast pizzas, I will explain exactly what that is here in a minute. Pasta and sauce, this is actually a week we were gone a couple nights, so the girls made that again. Bacon and eggs, I have a package of bacon out in the fridge in the garage that needs to be used. Obviously Taya's not going to get eggs, but I figured this would be a meal that I could very quickly, easily make, and it's going to use up that bacon. It's not the BLTs that I had written down a few weeks ago, but it's something that's going to get it used. And then I actually have a Bico written for this next week that I haven't even quite started yet. So now let me explain a couple other things to you really quick. Okay, so as you guys can tell from that list, I mean, this is not super structured, but it is really working for us. So like I said before, I will go through the fridge and freezer, see what we've got. I take an inventory every week. So that's another big thing that I do that I would really recommend is pick certain days, like 1, 2, maybe 3 days a week that are themed. So for the longest time, we had French toast every Sunday until everybody kind of started getting burned out on it. So that was more of a winter thing. But that is a meal we knew we were having. So we knew we had to have eggs on hand. Makes it a lot easier to shop. Tuesdays are Taco Tuesdays, according to our 6-year-old. So I try to plan some form of taco every week, but nobody wants the exact same ones every week. So, a week ago we had al pastor tacos. That recipe is in my recipe playlist. I will try to link it down below as well for anybody who wants to see that. I do it in the Instant Pot, fast and easy. Everybody loves it. It's always a hit. And it feeds a lot of people too, by the way. We have a lot of leftovers with that one. This week we're going to do the salsa chicken tacos, or tomorrow I should say. So tomorrow morning when I get up before we leave, I'm going to throw them in the crock pot. Just a bunch of chicken breasts and a jar of salsa. When I get home, I will shred it all up. And then we'll have that with cheese and sour cream and a tortilla shell and call it a taco. So it doesn't have to be the same thing, but pick a theme. I'm not going to do al pastor 2 weeks in a row. For when it does get a little spendy, but people are going to get burned out on it and then they're not going to want it anymore. So that is something to keep in mind. I try to do at least one super easy meal in my list a week because it never fails. There's at least one day where I'm going to have to be on the go or I need something in a hurry or we got home late. So like the French bread pizza. Okay, so what we do for that is you just take a loaf of French bread, you cut it in half lengthwise, lay it on a cookie sheet, pizza sauce, cheese, whatever other toppings you may want, throw it in the oven, 350 for about 15 minutes, just enough for the cheese to melt. And voila, you got French bread pizza. We usually make 2 to 3 loaves for our family. I remember the days when I could get by with a single loaf. It's fairly inexpensive. And it works great. Texas toast pizza, same concept, honestly. Just a loaf of Texas toast, which is a much thicker cut bread. Lay those open on a cookie sheet, and then every kid can top their own or create their own pizza. So some of the kids like barbecue pizza, they can do that rather than tomato sauce. It really just works out that way. So this last week, like I said, you saw that we've got a couple of really simple meals. Part of the reason we've had that this week is we've got kids that left for camp. So 3 days this week, we're down 3 kids. And it's just the 3 little ones and Charlie. So really our 4 youngest kids. I'm not going to put a ton of time into a lot of extra food when it's the 3 little ones who are going to be the pickiest. Charlie appreciates better foods, but I can make special meals for just the 3 of us, Sean, myself, and her. And something slightly different for the 3 little ones. So I can make them chicken nuggets, they'll be happy all day, and then I can make baked chicken or something else. So that's kind of where that play comes in. Like I said, I can't do anything more organized than this. And when I look at the ones, I'm gonna pull this up here and show you guys. So when I write leftovers, that is also for planning purposes. So I can be like, okay, I've only got 1 meal this week with leftovers. That means I'm going to have to be on my game for every other meal because I can't have a night where I'm like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work. Eat some leftovers. But like last week, there were 3 meals scheduled to have leftovers. Now, only 2 of them got made, but we ended up actually having to throw some leftovers out because they didn't all get eaten. And guys, I saved $100 this week on our budget. I was under budget by $100 in our groceries on a large week. That is huge. So, this is where it's really coming down to. Now, okay, so let's keep that in mind. If we do a large grocery week every other week and a small week in between, I want to say the small week I wasn't under by a whole lot. I was almost like right in budget. Normally I tend to go over. But if I am under budget by $100 every large week, that's automatically saving us at least $200 a month. Now the hard part too is it's not that there's 4 weeks in a month. You know, we've got 2 big, 2 small. It's a rotation. And some months there's 5 grocery weeks. So it kind of affects how our budget and everything works. And I try to keep that in mind too. But it's really a matter of figuring out your schedule, what you've got on hand. I'm trying to work through some other things. I'm not going to do a big pantry clean out and stuff. I know that's a really popular thing, but guys, it's not for me. However, I did notice that there is a handful of things. We recently cleaned and rearranged the pantry, and I say we, and honestly, my daughter Emmy helped the most with that. But we found a number of things that were well past their expiration date. So we tossed them. There's some things I'll keep past. There's some things I won't. Now, I will tell you too, we didn't purchase all of the things that were past. We have a relative who likes to pick up discount items at the grocery store and then pass them on. But half the time when we get them, they're already past date. So I keep them long enough so that they can see them a few times and then they disappear so that, you know, they can just assume it's used or not. But there's certain things I just won't use expired. So there it is. I mean, that's honestly, I don't think you can get much more simple when it comes to meal planning. Keep it simple. Nothing's in order. So I'm going to bounce around. I mean, like this week, the salsa chicken was the first thing on the list, and it's going to be one of the last meals made for the week because that's just the way the week has worked. Everything else on here has been made except the bacon and eggs, which will probably get made the following day. But there's actually no guarantee on that one. I think the bacon is still good for a little while yet. So if it doesn't get made, it'll get bumped down to the next week. We'll figure out, or I'll come up with another dish that's going to need bacon. The baked goods, you know, that's something that I would like to start doing. We're still in summer, so I'm just putting them on there to get myself used to seeing it and thinking about it. So hopefully by winter, I'm going to be baking something every single week. Now that said, I do have some bananas that I'm going to have to get used up, which ironically, the breakfast cookies that were a couple weeks up here, use a couple bananas. And today, Taya was begging for, she kept calling them crispy beans, but she meant Rice Krispie treats. So I've got the stuff on hand for that. I might go ahead and fulfill that wish for her here this weekend. And there it is. If you guys have any questions, leave it in the comment section down below. I hope this simplified meal plan helps somebody else as well. I know we all would love to be those super organized moms who have it all figured out for an entire month, do all the freezer meals. That's not me. And I'm going to say this really quick too. Part of that is not me because we prefer to use glass dishes for a lot of our stuff. I'm not going to freeze glass dishes. I really do not like to use those aluminum pans any more than potlucks. I am definitely not going to use them on a frequent basis. It's also a lot of waste. Some of them can be washed and reused, but let's be honest, not a lot of them. And it's just not our style. So that's why you're never gonna see me doing a month of freezer meals. You're never going to see me planning out for an entire month unless something crazy were to happen. It's not my style. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate. So anyhow, I hope this helped you guys. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification button so you don't miss everything that's coming up next. And I will see you in the next one.